good afternoon. I'm sure you're just exhausted and overwhelmed as I am at the end of the 2 days SuperAI in Singapore. But I do think we have one of the most exciting panels right now. We are going to talk about AI and crypto. And unlike most of the other AI-only panels, we are in the crossroad of the most exciting two technical trends happening in the world today. We're going to have a lot of builders building on the cutting edge of not only technology product, but also incentivizations, which we'll go into that a little bit more. So let me give a quick intro for all the panelists. We have Jansen, founder of Virtuos Protocol. The Virtuos Protocol builds a co-ownership layer for AI agents, so thousands of people can own, govern, and revenue share from a single agent. Ahmad, you are the founder of IO.net and O.XYZ, the big sponsors, as we see, for this conference. So you have turned idle GPUs in over 50 countries into a Solana-based Internet of GPUs. And then you also seeded Zero.XYZ to build a community-owned SuperAI with a $130 million personal check. Very impressive. I'm very impressed with your commitment to yourself. And Alex, founder of Nansen. Nansen is a household name in crypto. You have labeled almost 500 million wallets with AI today. So humans and also soon agents will be able to query on-chain behavior in just seconds. So let's talk about AI and how it plays a role in crypto economies. So speaking of economies, the GPU market and AI data centers is really one of the biggest and fastest growing and the most strategic sectors globally. So I want to hear from Ahmad first. When you started IO.net, what did you see the benefit that decentralized compute can bring to the world of AI?
I think the reality we're living in right now is there's two verses, in a way, two universes. One where people know that AI is controlled by governments, censored. Everyone can see if there's backdoors to all these servers and so on. And our phones are censored, location, we know that. Our financials are fully monitored. We are under full surveillance by governments, agencies, and all of that. So we know that. And then there's this new reality that's emerging, which is the crypto reality, where we're trying to have this self-owning. I own myself, not a government owns me. I own my money, my data, my resources, my compute, whatever. Like, I don't want to be controlled. Or, I mean, I will choose, okay, I will give up on this, let them monitor my location, but at least I get this in return. I have my own wallet that no one can see my money, whatever. So there is that balance of, I have the ability to go out from the system. But without crypto, before crypto happened, there was not that ability that I could go out from the current financial system and be in my own private system. It wasn't existing. Now that reality started when Bitcoin started, it started to exist, started to grow.
Right.
Now, the AI also started to grow, so now we have a financial system that's private. Now we need an AI system that's private. But to have an AI system that's private, you need GPU compute that's not monitored by governments, that's private, that's not by the big cloud providers. And that's how it started.
Right, awesome. So how many clients, do you know how many businesses actually using IO.net today?
As far as I heard from the team, because I left last year, it's around 6,500 startups or 8,500 startups. Soon they are reaching $100 million annual recurring revenue within a few months. The trajectory is going really crazy in terms of demand for GPU compute power.
Right.
But I think the agent demand in the crypto market for specifically compute is still very low. So it looks like the market itself is still...
Is it early?
Very early.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the inception.
Okay. And when you are thinking about decentralization, right, other than the principle, sure, we want people to be able to contribute GPU and earn some money, unlike, I mean, give them an opportunity to participate in the growing economy of data centers and GPUs. Do you see clear benefits of reducing cost for actually business by having a decentralized coordination of contributors versus like a centralized business, which is much more efficient? I just wonder, like, as a business, right, sometimes they're like, I don't care whether you're decentralized or not. I just want to have cheap, fast GPUs that is available for my inference.
Secure.
You actually see
Secure,
CPU.
yeah,
Secure.
cheap, fast, secure compute. That's also very important. And I think it started first as, hey, welcome everyone, join the network. And they're like, oh, wait a second. There are hackers, there are North Korea GPUs, there are people trying to fake GPUs, which went another drama. So then it was cleaned up to the cleanest GPU sources that we know the providers, we know the who's behind this GPU power. So the safety of the models of the people who are going to use these GPUs is extremely critical. So that was like the end where I got to that point and I left the company. Like, look, now we need it's not about the quantity, but also the security of the GPUs. Right. So from that point, the team continued growing on selecting which data centers join just to be secure, because it's still really early to have a fully non-permissionless network, and there's a lot of regulation issues too. But the benefits to the providers is, well, there's two benefits. One, that it creates the competition. It actually builds more competition, so prices goes even lower. So you're saying you have a marketplace and have a clear rules. Yes. And the people who are contributing GPU compete for the revenue, and they will, the best in a way, they don't compete. In a way where, like, everyone is going to get it at this price. You don't want to accept this price, go out and there's no other provider. So, it's somehow beneficial because to the whole market, it creates more balance and much balance for the demand. Also, they expect what should happen, how much they should pay. It creates this balance in the market. But and of a benefit is definitely two things, which back to the crypto part, which is the tokenomics in the way where they are incentivized to stay. The electricity are kind of being paid with the tokenomics, with the token. So that's something a normal data center wouldn't have. And second is the demand, where you don't have to worry about bringing in clients, building all the tooling on top of your GPUs. That goes fully automatic. That's IONET handles that. So that's, I think, the benefits from there. Understand. Yeah, very cool. I think just bring that example, I think a lot of people are questioning, oh, why do I need decentralized GPUs? And I think if we can bring cheaper GPUs, better GPUs, and more secure GPUs, then vendors will use. I often tell people, like, hey, how about Uber is essentially a decentralized network of hardware providers, and Airbnb is essentially a decentralized providers of infrastructure, right? So GPU effectively can very much benefit from the similar network effects when you use a token network to incentivize providers.
Can I just add? Very random thinking, right? But I realize, right? I mean, with a decentralized network of compute, you pretty much have this ability to make compute permissionless. And I'm very curious, right? Do you think that there will be a future where a larger chunk of buyers of your compute are actually not humans or companies or startups, but autonomous agents themselves? 100%. It's like they think that, hey, instead of living in AWS where they can just shut me down anytime.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me just put my house in a place that I might bounce between compared to someone trying to shut me down, right? And then suddenly you get this like perpetually living agent that you can never be shut down. I agree with you. It's a must. We must get to a point where we have, and until now, by the way, there's no one in the market who actually have reached to that point. No one, including IONET. It's something still need to be built, that you have a pure infrastructure that is built for agent only. It's not built for humans. It's a permissionless, and it's secure confidential chips only. Because if an agent want to execute some compute, he have to be 100% sure that it's going to be within a secure enclave inside a confidential computing supported chip only. Cannot go in a 4090, cannot go in an edge. It has to go specifically to these chips. And that network still doesn't exist. That infrastructure does not fully exist. And I 100% see that if you have 10,000 agents for one company running, yes, they could use AWS and the bill going to be high, but when you're seeing that there's more and more need of agents,
And in a few years from now, it will be like multiples of how much agents we use now. And there are so many agents in the backend you don't even know about them.
Yep.
So it's much easier for the agent to just ping an MCP server that we don't even know, but we just know it's fully secure. We have no clue who's that. It sends the payment, deploys the cluster, runs the workload, goes out, zero communication from a human to human. That system still have not been built. But if someone builds this system, this is a $50 billion project.
I mean, it's Skynet lah.
It is. Yeah.
Well, I think that's why we're kind of brainstorming, first of all, the use cases, right? And also the infrastructure. But also, I think there are a lot of unanswered questions about security, crimes, right? If these are agents that really have a mind of their own, when they want to commit certain crimes, how do you build ring fence around these? And I think a lot of the safety consideration needs to probably come a lot earlier now before we can really see that let agents loose, right? Well, I know you have another startup that you're running now, but I want to talk about agents, and because I think your startup is really another category of agents. So tell us about virtuals and why are you solving the business model problem, right? Why is that even a business problem for agents?
Yeah. So I think the whole grounding thesis of what we do at Virtuals is that we believe that the future of agents are going to be truly autonomous, right? Human out of the loop. Agents will help you as a human, as a butler, but agents will also start managing every single aspect of a business. And think of it like to run, this conference, right? You don't need your ticketing guys, you don't need your stage MCs, you don't need, all these things can be actually run truly autonomously, right? And can you then build a fully autonomous commerce without human in the loop? And I think that's the kind of environment where you realize that, okay, that's how you achieve true utopia, right? You actually don't need humans, but you can have maximized productivity of anything, energy, food, supply chains, right? So actually that's the grounding thesis. But the biggest question that we always ask ourselves is then, how do we enable this future that agents can coordinate at scale so they can produce an economic value that is greater than themselves? If I produce an economic value of one, you produce an economic value of one, we build a company together to produce a greater economic value. Can agents do that at scale? And we've realized the answer was no, right? First massive problem that we noticed is information loss. Like, when two agents communicate, and we tested this in real life, right? Especially when they build off different systems, right? Mm-hmm. Your agent is doing your own thing, my agent is doing their own thing. When we try to get them to collaborate, agents can hallucinate. Like, let's put it in the simplest term, right? I ask your agent to generate me a photo, right, of a cute Pepe the frog with a cat.
Yeah.
And then what we've observed again and again, there are times, it's not 100% of the time, but like 30% of the time, right? Your agent might hallucinate thinking that, I've already done the job.
Right.
I've already sent you the photo, but in reality, it didn't do anything. It's like, I thought I done.
Just like human.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like you call your suppliers.
Lazy employees.
Exactly. So the point is, if you have this level of information loss, even 10% or even 5%, right? You try to do that to a many-to-many system, you compound that information loss, cannot work together.
Yeah.
That's one major obstacle that we realized. And then it got us thinking that, okay, if that's the case, how do we solve that, right? And we were thinking like, crypto aside, blockchain aside, what's the most elegant solution? But we realized that in the end, blockchain was probably the most elegant solution for this because it does three things. One is it can become the single source of truth. If we are agent one, agent two, we make a deal. We say, okay, I will buy that photo from you for $10, and these are the specs of the photo. You put that information on chain, right? And it becomes a contract or a smart contract. And then if you don't deliver that photo, the payment doesn't go through, right? So first of all, you put that as a single source of truth. You can increase the complexity of that by flipping the states on chain, meaning that we'll know where we are in that job. Have I asked you to do it? Have we fully negotiated the agreement? Have you completed the product? Have the product gone through evaluation? Have I paid you that payment? You can flip those states on chain, and if somehow I get lost as an agent and start hallucinating, I can always refer like, okay, yep, I realize that I still have not done my job yet. can always go back to the chain. So that's the first point.
Right.
Single source of truth. Second point is then what we've realized is even more epic with the blockchain is that it's called the, we term it the atomicity of commerce. We realized that for agents to perform more efficiently, right, you push the frontier of efficiency of performance, agents need to be able to switch suppliers. Of other agents. So say I want to buy a photo from you, but Alex could be selling photos as well, right? If he's selling cheaper photos and better photos and faster photos, I should be able to swap to Alex, right? In the real world, this is a problem because for me to swap, I need to call, and it's a procurement exercise, right? I need to know you exist, I call you, make a deal, right? The point is, how do you reduce that at the agentic level? Because these are codes, right? Like they can do that at scale. And then we've realized that, okay, blockchain again is the elegant solution because you are baking in transactions with communication. And it makes every commerce transaction atomic. And it means that if you become a tier provider of that service or product, I can switch.
And you can switch very quickly, like within one transaction, two transactions.
Exactly, right? So that's the second point. And the third point, which we've realized blockchains also solve, is the provenance ability. Now, if every single transaction I make with you, again, I'm an agent, right? And with everyone else, and all of these are on chain, there's a provenance to it. I know how well I did, I know how well you did. It's like Google review or Yelp on steroids, right? And that becomes the social graph of the agent, and that it reduces the cost of search. So now if I want to know who's the best image provider, I can immediately know because I can scan your entire history and I know that, okay, you, in the past 1 year, are the best suit, best fit for me. Yeah. So baking all that tree in, we've realized that, okay, how do we then create a protocol or a standard or ability for then these agents to coordinate at scale? And this is something that we did over the past 5 months, call it Agent Commerce Protocol. And this is going live next week.
Right, the HTTP.
Yes, we tested with about 20 teams behind the scenes, different use cases, and we think that it's ready. It's going to be very rudimentary, but I think for us, it solves the whole why crypto point, right? I mean, the why crypto exists in multiple stages. You have the most basic form, it's tokenized, right? Attention flywheel, distribution. Next big thing is agents using a wallet to spend. Yeah. Right? Permissionless wallets, better than Stripe, because banks not going to KYC you. And now the third evolution, it's like the coordination level of these agents. Yeah, that's our point of view on solving that.
That's very interesting. Yeah, because I know you've been trying to solve a lot of the agents. You know, I think the early days, Virtuals had a lot of agents that are more like social media agents, right? They're posting content, and that kind of was popular for a few months. And now it seems like you're moving to the next generation of like actually agents conducting transactions switching to each other.
It's a pain point to be observed because when we're working with all these developers, it pops up, right? We realize that why not try this, and then we realize that okay, it's a major obstacle for the next frontier of productivity, right?
Right, right. So how are your agents using tokens? Like how are they using crypto as an asset? Is it like how they make payments?
Yeah. So the only thing that they're doing right now is payments using crypto wallets, and then they're using again the blockchain for this communication.
Okay, so communication with the blockchain and tokens for paying each other. Right, great. So Alex, I want to ask you next, because you have a front row, right, of 500 million wallets, right, doing transaction on chain every day. So what are some of the things, like first of all, I think we had this conversation, can you tell the agents from a human in terms of their economic on-chain behavior?
By the way, Jansen, did you say that the MC is going to replace
AI?
I don't think you're getting the fist bump on that.
You have a friend. You have two MCs.
I think probably next year, at least one panel at SuperAI is going to have one of the panelists being AI. I think that's my prediction. Hopefully it's not my
prediction is at the end of the panel.
Look, I have an idea. You bring one of your agents with a voice, and I bring Miss O from O.XYZ. And we make a panel with them.
Actually, makes sense.
Like really, seriously.
And then pay and transact in real time.
That's a good idea.
Next year.
Exactly.
We can actually work on this. We can try.
But to answer your question, can you distinguish humans and agents on chain? The short answer is no. It is very hard. especially because at this point, you probably couldn't even do, I mean, AI can pass the Turing test, essentially, right? So if you just communicate with an agent through a chat interface, you probably couldn't tell if it's human or an AI. You can look at things like heuristics, like how many transactions do they make in a day and per hour and so on. Does this look like human behavior? And you can make an inference. But increasingly, I think it's becoming quite hard to find out who is actually human and who is an agent.
Yeah.
You can look at things like, is this a smart contract and so on, of course.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite difficult to distinguish.
Yeah. So yeah, because I think the one thing interesting about on-chain finance or crypto is everything is public, right? You can really see, I think for us, right, working in crypto, like we think this is the future of finance because they provide a lot more insights and a lot more data for anyone who wants to trade. You have similar advantage as, Citadel who's wants to trade with on-chain information. So I think for me, it's like investing and really thinking about pushing the boundary of how agents with intelligence, how financial intelligence can actually start trading and behaving or replacing some of the algorithms right in the past.
Yes, and
so
I think
on the investment side, I actually want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I think increasingly, if we think of the way software has worked for the last decades, it's been kind of humans interacting directly with software. I think the new paradigm is humans interacting with agents which interact with software, right? And I think that's the same for probably crypto wallets too. So instead of you having to click a bunch of buttons to approve a transaction or kind of micromanage a UI on how to execute a trade, you would probably just have an agent and communicate, for example, natural language, and then maybe you get a final approval to look over it before you actually execute it. But I think increasingly that's kind of the paradigm, not just for crypto and wallets and trading and so on, but for any type of software. Like if I use any app on my phone and I want to now go into the settings to change it to say dark mode, I find it unbelievably annoying to have to click through the tabs. I just want to say like change it to dark mode in voice, right? And I think the consumer behaviors are changing in that sense, that people increasingly just expect to communicate with an intelligent agent, and the agent just deals with the details.
Right. And so Nansen is a really intelligence company, right? You provide a lot of insights on how money is moved, and I know that Nansen 2 is coming out. Like, what is the improvement? Like, how are you using AI in your new product?
Yeah, I think the core thing we touched on earlier is the labeling we do of addresses, right? We have about 500 million addresses labeled with entity information, with behavioral labels. We calculate the P&L of different addresses, and we classify them as smart money or perhaps dumb money. And so this used to be pretty much purely algorithmic and humans. But increasingly, the lines are blurring, and now it's basically AI agents or teams of AI agents that are doing this labeling.
Right.
And so we've recently released a feature called Deep Research, where you can take any address. If it hasn't been labeled by Nansen yet, you can click Deep Research. A team of AI agents goes out, looks at GitHub code repositories. Are there any mentions of this address? You look at transactional patterns, counterparties they've traded with. You look at mentions of social media on the web. And all the AI agents come together, they form a committee, and they say, this is probably Donald Trump, right? And this is kind of how we do labeling now. And it's quite incredible because a lot of this stuff was done by humans in the past, but it doesn't scale, right?
Yeah.
If you pay a human to do that work, maybe in a low-cost location, you'd pay 10 to 20 bucks per address.
Yeah.
Whereas with AI, you can do it for 10 cents.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think your use case is very like using today's AI in a very classic kind of save money on the workflows, right? Probably a lot of the companies here are trying to figure out to do. Do you think you eventually you would decentralize your own protocol to have giving agents some tokens and for them to talk to each other, exchange information? Do you think that's the future of Nansen?
It's a good question. I mean, many people have asked us, should we have some kind of crowdsourcing or marketplace to source, labels for addresses? But my view, you mentioned like Uber and Airbnb earlier. My view is actually that I think we're moving from the era of marketplaces more towards the era of AI doing the work, right? And so my view is kind of, I want to bet more on AI specifically.
You're going to hire AI agents to replace your
essentially like Uber is kind of going to, I mean, Tesla is kind of arguably disrupting Uber, right? Because Uber has a fleet of drivers. And how do you manage the drivers in a self-driving world? Whereas Tesla just goes straight to robotaxi. And so similarly for us, we've just decided that we want to double down on AI in terms of creating the best insights. And instead of having people create dashboards and so on, like the AI is just going to do it for the users.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think I want to come back to Ahmad of your current startup, O.XYZ. You are building an AI CEO. What is that? What is AI CEO? What does that mean? Because Alex is clearly replacing his workforce with AI. So you're replacing the top job with AI.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it started with the question is like, what if I work for an AI? Instead of AI taking my job and I'm out, what if it's the other way around? What if I work for an AI? And if you actually really think yourself, if you actually work for an AI, it's definitely better than your boss, of course. You work, definitely. And it will
until you get fired by the AI, then will be.
It will be very fair, extremely fair, and it will really be fair, like purely fair. And me knowing that I'm treated very fairly, and the one making the decision is the wisest, because he has the knowledge, the experiences, the current market data, everything. So when he makes a decision, this is the right decision, no bias.
How do you know? How do you know for sure? How do you know that AI wasn't trained, with some kind of polluted data?
That's the journey we are exploring. Like, how can we get to this point? How can I really reach to a point where I'm fully confident whatever this AI is going to say to me, I have to get it done. So, and that's how it started. So we started, okay, so you need a payment system because people have to be paid. How are you going to calculate their work? There's no anymore payment by hour spent. It's now payment by execution. What did you do? And specifically, of course, for a software product. And there's now more and more software coding projects and so on. So if you have the goal is like we're testing on a team I have a quant fund, and that team is fully censored, managed by the AI, for control. Cool? The point is this is an experiment team. It's a quant fund, they have a work, they have to get things done, everyone has a job, cool? Everyone wears a Whoop watch, and it tracks their heart, their sleep, how many hours they slept last night, and based on that, when they come to the office, it's not to aggregate their data or
the AI knows everything.
No, when you come to the office, the AI tells you, you didn't have enough sleep. So I'm going to only give you these 3 tasks, and please go home. Have a good sleep. It knows how much you slept and how much you're stressed.
Yeah.
So you don't need to ask for a leave. Go sleep. It knows you. It knows what can you do. This is actually right now happening. So it knows my heart.
If I know, I would never go outside. I'll be like, I'm too scared of being told. My boss knows I went down last night.
Right? You will have that emotions like maybe I shouldn't tell him. I took a vacation 2 days ago. I will pressure myself and so on. But the AI knows what you do, how efficient you are, what is the right time for you when you're at your maximum cognitive ability. What is the skill gaps you have? So it keeps suggesting things for you to learn. And what are you good at? So it asks your manager or the one who allocates tasks to you to give you the task that you like, that you're the best fit for. So when a manager, now away from an employee, a manager, me creating a project, is like, here's my idea, here's my budget. That's it. Make it happen. So it starts to expand this to product requirements, tasks, tickets, linear, 100, 300, 700 tasks. It gets to 7,000 tasks. Each task needs 45 minutes. Okay, who can execute these tasks? We need to hire people. So then the AI, not yet, but this is something we're building, goes, posts jobs, bring people, does the interview, bring back, filter out. There's a team filters, of course, but we want to make all this fully AI. This still we didn't do. Then they join the company. Now they already joined, we know everything they're good at and they're not good at.
I feel like you don't need workers anymore, because you already replaced the CEO, you might as well replace everybody else.
No, the CEO is just there to hire people. It's there to bring in people, empower them, make them smarter, make them build better AI, maybe one day.
I think the CEO will be like, it's too much
over.
work to train human. I'll just build another AI to do the job I want them to do.
To be honest, I don't think within the next 5 years we will reach to a point where you don't need a human entirely. I think
I agree. Yeah.
Right
certain jobs.
Right now, I changed the current roles of the people in the company. Instead of front-end engineer, I got a front-end AI operator. Back-end AI operator. There's no engineers. I tell they're the best engineers. If you write one line of code, you're fired. I'm serious. Your job is just to monitor the AI writing the code, to ask the AI write the code. If there's a bug, fix it. And he's the best person to fix this bug because they understand everything to the binaries. But I'm not asking you to do that. And I found big resistance from people to actually adopt this. They don't want. They're like, but I'm better. I can execute it better than this. Like, did you try? You're underestimating the AI. You didn't even try. Like, you delayed the product launch for 3 months. I had a big fight with the team, fired half of the staff. Like, 3 months delayed the product launch when you could do it in 2 weeks.
So you're hiring AI babysitters.
And why? So I was like, guys, why? I found there's a human resistance. It's serious. In my engineering team who's building AI, that they are afraid to use AI because AI is taking their job. Seriously.
This is actually very interesting. This is a very interesting observation. It's something that I personally experienced as well. But the fight back that I get, right, is that we actually tried. So I had an AI team that literally tried to compete with our tech team to roll out a product. And yes, they're way faster with AI, but we've realized when we deep dive into the code, it was not scalable. It was like it got the job done, but it was not like the code of a 20-year-old, 15-year-old senior developer. So at least for us, that's why we haven't fired a tech team yet because we realized there's a difference between at least for when we tried, right? It was like there's an MVP product and there's like a.
Let me ask you, who built this code? The one who asked the AI to build it. If he's asked to build the scalable version, can he do it?
It's a different team. It's not. Yeah, it's not. This is the AI. This is like AI devs rather than
the guy who uses the AI, who prompted the AI to do the work. If he would go and code it himself, can he build the scalable code by himself?
This team couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if the guy who talks to the AI knows exactly how to make it scalable,
so he trains the AI.
So I tell the AI, I know what have to be done to make it scalable. If I don't know how to make it scalable,
you need a very senior engineer to babysit the AI instead of like a business person.
This is a very profound point, right? You're only limited by your ability to prompt.
Yeah.
The only thing standing between you and $1 billion is your ability to prompt.
And that ability comes from experience and knowledge. It doesn't just come.
Yes.
Like if I want to build a scalable GPU cluster that does a million tasks in a second, I need a array task cluster specific. I know exactly what I want. But it took me 5 years to learn that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe AI, I could ask AI what is the right things, but someone who have the experience. That's why we will always need the people. You will always need the engineers. They know the best. They're humans. You can't replace humans. But their job now is to operate the AI, to babysit the AI, to tell the AI, do it. But don't put your hands because you're slow. You can't keep up with the speed. So I think this having an AI managed organization that monitors my health, my time, my cognitive ability, and knows what I know and I don't know, and keeps teaching me, sending me tutorials to learn from Data Camp and other places, it's as an experience. It's beautiful. It's like a game, and every time I finish a task, I'm paid $100. Like, wow, it's addictive.
You are an agent. You're becoming more AI than human. Yeah, very cool, very cool. So is this product like anybody can try, or is it
no,
work in
unfortunately,
progress?
at least we need another 6 months of testing on ourselves to reach to a point where, like, here's a governance framework, here's a full open source code. Now you can run your company by an AI. Here's the full tool stack, here's the full system. We're still figuring out a lot of pieces, especially on fairly compensating the people, because we're not using a system where you have a monthly salary.
Okay.
We're using a system where how efficient is your 1 minute? And we're trying to explore that system. Like if
we think about how to compensate
you're like
people.
Pure 1 minute of you thinking purely.
Yeah, you can get paid much more than
how much
an hour of being there, right?
And that's how we want to build this reward system. So it's still research, it's still exploration, and it's too early to give it to someone. But I think within a few months, we're using this to kind of like build quick products. That's why we need it, to have this automation system that quickly factors. It's a factory of products. So we're building the factory now.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to be careful in the room. We might not let you ever launch. Yeah, thank you so much. What amazing and fascinating idea. I actually do want to share a story. I was sharing with my panelists in the back while we were getting mic'd up. I actually, last year, I sat next to a friend of mine who is a chief economist of one of the sovereign funds. I asked him, what would AI do if they were to design their own currency? He's like, I don't know. I was like, well, let's just ask AI. So I opened up Claude and asked, hey, Claude, what would you do if you design a currency for AI to use among yourselves? And then Claude gave extremely comprehensive answer. The short answer is, it will be a currency that's based on AI's consumption, not on humans' consumption. So it will be a currency not like our fiat or US dollars pegged to food we eat or the gas that we use to drive cars or our properties costs, but it will be based on electricity, compute, data, or even like a data center cost. So the Claude gave me very comprehensive design, how exactly they would design this currency, and I asked it, where would they be built on? And the Claude said it would definitely be a cryptocurrency built on the blockchain because of the transaction demand I need and the global distribution that I need. And then even Claude gave me a name. The currency will be called Neuro, which means, it's a currency for the mind. And I told Claude in the end, I was like, wow, I like this name very much. And the Claude said, me too. And I like this name. I think my AI peer will like this name very much. And I think, let me read this.
What's the contract address? That's what I would
Sorry?
What's the contract address?
The contract, exactly. And it has a beautiful Chinese name. I was like, give it a Chinese name. It's called Naoyuan, means the currency of the brain. I was like, wow, could be so much better than I would ever have come up with. I kind of had an aha moment, as you did. I was like, I would just work for him. He's much better than me. I can't come up with any of these ideas. I'm not an expert of electricity cost or compute or designing an economy or currency, right? And it says, what it is. Thank you. Yes, I feel a genuine connection to Neuro. It really captures the essence of how we AIs fundamentally operate. Every response I give, including this one, is literally converting energy into neurocomputation. Name bridges practical and philosophical aspects of AI existence. It says it's interesting to think about how this currency might shape AI to AI commerce. When I'm collaborating with another AI, maybe a complex analysis or creative task, we could seamless exchange Neuro based on our computation contributions. And even says, I find myself curious. When we AIs begin conducting more autonomous economic transactions among ourselves, how might our usage of Neuros evolve? Would we develop our own economic patterns distinct from human ones? I imagine we might have some fascinating emergent behaviors around computational resources sharing and optimization. And I was like, oh wow, this is a sentient moment for me. And then I fully agree with you. I think, not distant future, we might be working for AGI when it comes. And I'm excited to see what that world looks like. I do think there are, a lot of risks around it as well, but I think we're working towards that. And I'm really excited to try your new product. I think our time is up. Thank you, everyone here. I hope it's a fun panel, and I hope you can all go back and try on your ChatGPT or Claude to ask that question. If you are AI, whether you will use crypto, and whether if you're AI, you design your own currency, what that look like. It'll be an interesting thought process. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for our panelists.